Hello, valued viewers. Welcome to my program, Mining for the Truth. Joseph Atta is my name, from Ghana, West Africa. Mining for the Truth refers to the process of digging to discover the undiluted doctrines of Christ, our Church of Christ. It has two purposes as follows. One, to teach the word. John 1 verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You can prove this by reading Genesis 1 verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The plural Hebrew word for God there is Elohim, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. 2, to teach the truth. John 8:32. And you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. What is the truth? John 17:17. Sanctify them by your truth, your word is truth. What is the truth manifestation? John 14 verse 6. And Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me, or except through me. I welcome all my viewers from all over the world. You mark the campus church, so you can say CCCM, you mark SRID. Eccl campus, Takrade. You are welcome. All members are welcome. Odonko, Sister, you are welcome to the program. I miss you so much, and I know you have also missed me as well. Once again, let us continuously pray and hope in God. We are trusting in Him that His covenant with you will soon come true. I love you so much. We are continuing with the book of Ecclesiastes. I think I've explained the cover page or the cover design severally. So therefore, we move straight to chapter 3, the pedagogy of chapter 3. We are looking at a chapter and verses of the book of Ecclesiastes. So chapter 2 is dealt with, and today we're going to start with the chapter 3. But before I start, if you go to Ezekiel 3 verse 18 and 19, it is saying that we should warn people. Now, if you refuse to warn someone and the person dies in his or her sins, then the blood will be upon you. But the verse 19 is saying that when you warn the person and the person refuses, that one you are exempted. There's only one church, Matthew 16 verse 18. Church of Christ, in which salvation can be found. So you are hereby informed that I've been mentioning our Church of Christ, our Church of Christ. Yes, it is the only church which God is going to use to save the world. You see, the moment you say this, the people are annoyed. My duty is to say the truth. If you insult me for insult and insult. I don't have time for insult, actually. When you insult me, within some few minutes, I forget it, once and for all. Even if you want to apologize in the future, sometimes I wouldn't even recall. Sometimes, if it is a message, I delete the message so that it won't even remind me. I've been trained to enjoy insults. So if you insult me, you have done nothing. And if you want to insult me, you should be the creative type. Because I have known much insults. So I don't know your creativity. Unless you are so creative, you cannot insult to affect my ego. Never ever in my life. So I'm here to tell you the truth. If you go to John 7 verse 24, it is making reference to righteous judgment. So I am proving why I am asking you to leave your church, get baptized, and come to my church. Stay faithful for salvation. Now, supposing that you are a mother in the home, and you've seen that your child has not been learning, or you are a teacher in school, you have seen that your student or some particular students have not been learning. As a mother, as a teacher, what you will say is that if you don't stop fooling, if you don't stop playing around to learn, you will fail. If is there, stop is also there. They are all conditional words. Or let's say the word if is a conditional word. If you do not stop fooling, if you do not stop playing to study, you will fail your exam. And it is true that if this child or this student do not, or the child does not adhere to this warning, truly, it may manifest in his or her final exams or their final result. So also, I need to tell you that if you do not leave your church, of which you have been brainwashed, your church was established by one man, which he has no authority. So if you don't leave it, get baptized and attend the Church of Christ to stay faithful, as we read from Revelation 2 verse 10, until the end, you may not have any salvation. This is a fact, and a fact is information without emotion. People don't like me in this life or wherever I go, because when I'm writing, I write the exact thing. If I'm speaking, I speak the exact thing. So I believe in facts. So if you don't have a heart, then you cannot follow me. And I take responsibility for my words and my actions. If you don't understand, I can explain to you. If you refuse to understand, that one is none of my business. In teaching, I won't understand. It's none of my business. I do not understand. It's when I have to explain. But if you have a set questions to go your own way, why should I waste my time on you? All right. So based on that, we'll go to the pedagogy of Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Today, we're going to look at chapter 3, episode 1. So these are the two objectives. A, trusting the God who sets the times and seasons of our lives. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1 to 15. And then 2, what time is it? What time is it? So these are what we are going to look at. The next 2 topics will be left for the following week. Now, thank you so much for viewing my videos. In fact, you have been doing well, and I'm grateful. May God bless you so much. So let's try to read Ecclesiastes. I think if there's time, I'll read from 1 to 15. If not, I'll read 1 to 2, and then we move on. Maybe they may be occurring, so that I'll be reading as we are moving on. Okay, so the Bible is open. I'm coming. Okay, so that says 2. 3 verse 1 to 2, sorry. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. 2, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck what is planted. Verse 3, a time to kill, even though I said 1 to 2, I'm continuing. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain, a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to seal, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. The God, okay, so I think we will end there on the 8th. Now let's start and then we move on. This section of the book is perhaps the best known portion. Thus, the irony of 8 words. To everything there's a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die. You are born and then you will die. So always I've been saying that when I studied or when I wrote the book of Ecclesiastes, it was when I even understood the reality of Christianity. You are born, you go through all the stages of life, and then you die. So let's say here is my point A, here is my point B. You are born from point A, you roam, and then you die at point B. So life starts, life ends. That's all. All what we are struggling for, we will die and then leave them. To some point, you can't even make use of them. And if you have TV, you may have a vision impaired. Maybe there's a blurred eyesight, so you can't even watch TV. The TV that you have labored money to buy, maybe the ultra modern one or the latest version, to some point you won't even have time to watch. So there's time for everything. It is obvious that this chapter marks the beginning of a new literary unit. And which is a unit are we talking about? From prose to poetry. From prose to poetry. And the topic changes from God-given wisdom and joy to God setting the times and seasons of life. Initially it was about God-given wisdom and joy. Now we are no more there. That's why we're saying from prose to poetry. But here it's about God setting the times and seasons of life. There's time for everything, making us the time and season for life. Now, prose is ordinarily manner writing, or you can say straightforward. You understand? So you can easily read and understand. Straightforward. Of course, it is a noun. That's the meaning of prose. And then when you consider the poetry, poetry too is a noun. You can say metrical writing, more or less measurement. Metrical, metrical, metrical writing. So measurement. Of course, it is a noun. Or you can say it is a literature composed in verse or language, exhibiting conscious attention. Okay. So you can see that you have to listen to it well to be able to diagnose. Otherwise, you won't understand because it is not straightforward as the prose. I suppose we can move on. God does indeed give wisdom, knowledge, and joy to the good, but that does not mean his gift comes without puzzling events that seem to challenge God's benevolence toward those who seek to know and do his will. Nothing is permanent in this life, okay? Even as human beings, if you go through transitional changes or transition in life, so whatever God is giving is not even permanent. There are changes to move from one place to the other, or to and fro. What profit has a man for all his labor in which he toils under the sun? So this is a question. Ecclesiastes 1 verse 3. The same thing is asked in Ecclesiastes 3 verse 9. And what profit has the worker from that in which he liveth? So I think this is more or less a rhetorical question. Okay, this is more or less rhetorical question. Of course, it is a noun. So a question, we can say that it is posed for persuasion. Okay, it is a question posed for persuasion. If you want, you can also say that it is a question in which the asker does not need any answer. You understand? Yes, I suppose you understand that one. So the person is just asking, and is not directly asking you or demanding for an answer. So two definitions have been given. So what do we gain? What do we gain? Both poems seem to address the question from different directions. They appear to be concerned with the same rhetorical question. Very good. This one I have been explained already. Which, when, in other words, does one find in all these world's endless revolutions and radical, alternating, evens the labor that will bring lasting benefits. Then each poem is followed by a prose commentary. There's nothing new under the sun, actually. That is Ecclesiastes 1 verse 10 and 11. And 3 verse 10 to 15. They almost mean the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. What is to come has been before. That's all. There's nothing new to come in which has never existed. God created the earth so many years ago. So let's say in the 1st century. And the earth is still there. So human beings are born onto it. You grow, we die, then you go. The earth will still be there. The world will still be there, in which you are after. That you don't even sleep. People have refused to sleep. When they see you observing or having some time to rest, they try to accuse you that you are lazy. That if you want to succeed, sleep within 4 hours, a whole lot. The purpose of a Christian on this earth is not to accumulate material wealth. We are strangers here, and sooner we are dying and then we are going. I'm not saying that don't have purpose, vision, aspirations, but no matter what you are going to build, you will die one day, you leave it and then you go. So therefore, our interest should be rather focused on heaven than here. There's nothing new under the sun. What you are now going to start was started somewhere before you were born. If you're trying to impress, people have impressed, and they were even not seen to be doing anything. What you are going to buy and build, people have built already and has even become outmoded. What time is it? What time is it? Many interpreters struggle to determine the right time, but only God determines the presence of all these experiences in human life, not man. They serve as description of a world that has been divinely consigned to futility. So Genesis 3 verse 17 to 19, Romans 8 verse 20. So Genesis 3 verse 17 to 19. Then to Adam he said, because you have heeded the voice of your wife, and have eaten from the tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. 18. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. 19. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return. Of course, I'm going to explain this Genesis 3 verse 19, 2 verse 7, and then Ecclesiastes 3 verse 19 to 20 in the next episode. We mean the episode 2 of 3rd chapter. I will explain it in details and then you will understand. You go to Romans 8 verse 20. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope. Now back to our lesson. Many interpreters struggle to determine the right time, but only God determines the presence of all these experiences in human life, not man. Man has no right to decide. And at times, as I'm teaching, you may hear the sounds of birds. Yes, there are more bushes around. And that's how I prefer to live, okay? And there's nobody living behind me. So please permit me for that. Of course, it is nature, and we cannot do away with it. God determines the time. God determines when you are born, when you are to die, when to prosper, when not to prosper. I've been warned, my friend, that don't live life having your own timetable. Don't plan alone using your own timetable, or you will fail. People eager to marry at certain ages, to give birth earlier, to marry some kind of a specific wife from a specific profession, the pride of life, so that by the time they reach somewhere 50 years or 60 years, their children is somewhere 15 to 20 years. So normally when you give birth at old age, they call their children pension babies. You see, if you're not wise in this life, you will hang yourself and then you die based on people's utterances. I mean, filthy languages. I live a life planned by God. That's all. I don't have my own timetable to live my own life. So me, I don't rush to do anything. God's time is the best. I have never rushed in life. My mate as a person, some are behind me, some are above me, I don't care. The blessings of God is full of freedom. So me, I don't rush in life. I don't have my own timetable to live. My life is governed by God. My constitution is the Bible, that's all. So I don't follow what people are doing to do this, to do that. You can give birth earlier, then the child will die. So what have you done? Because 90 work is that. Because you plan in your own wisdom. You can get married earlier to a beautiful wife, the one that you love. Later, she becomes your enemy, or the husband becomes the enemy of the wife. We call it a frenemy. The word is frenemy. A friend who is an enemy and then a rival. So frenemy, F-R-E-N-E-M-Y. So frenemy is the word. People have rushed in life with their own timetables, and now they have been stuck somewhere. They can't go forward, they can't also return back. They are suffering a lot, as a matter of fact. They have regretted big time. And for marriage to, there's no turning back. If you're a Christian, you have to marry only one. You can't divorce to go and marry. Otherwise, you and the person that you are going to marry, you are all going to hell. So Christianity and its marriage is not the same as the world, where the wife is not giving birth. So you can go elsewhere to cheat, to give birth. Your wife has not become pregnant, so you have the right. No. In fact, you have no right. Anyway, we move on. So we say that they serve as a description of a world that has been divine consigned to futility, designed. So this is a natural case. As I said, I'm going to explain this later. But all that we are struggling for, man will die. That's all. Adam was cursed to die, so I will also die. Growth occurs through feeding. If not for death, no one will grow. We eat to grow, to age, to die. Everyone will die. Being careless or cautious, whether you are preventive or careless, no matter the surgeries, buying pomade to avoid wrinkles, to buy hair dye to avoid the gray hair, tummy tuck, cutting down your hair, normally we say sweat, eating honey, drinking good wine, going for jogging, doing exercises. I'm saying that you will die. What's the problem? You will die. You will die by force. You can fake your growth, but you can't fake your age. No one has ever been able to fake the age, because it is a natural case for man to deteriorate. Now, when you can fake your growth is when you can apply some hair dye to dye your gray hair into dark hair. They call themselves refusing to grow. That one, you can fake it. If you want to do it, you can. But for the age, like in case you want to fake your age, then you can just go and then do birth certificate, maybe to reduce your age. But naturally, you cannot reduce your age. You can pretend that you are 40 years, whereby you are 50 years, to maybe deceive your workers and your fellow human beings. But in reality, naturally, you are 40 years or you are 50 years. I mean to say that you are 40 years and you are saying that you are 30 years, fine. But before God and man, or before you and your God, you are 40 years. Minus 70 is 30 years to die. If you are lucky and it is 80 years, fine. Of course, Psalms 90 verse 10 and then Psalms 89 verse 48. If you go to Genesis 27 verse 2, Isaac saw that he was going to die. You cannot escape danger. You cannot defeat nature. No matter how sensible you are. The professor who has invented anti-age cream, he himself or she herself is also aging to die. Growth occurs through feeding. We eat to grow to age, to die. If not for death, now we grow. So when you are growing, it means that you are approaching your maker. And everything we are having in here is futility. Even life itself is futility. It goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. At the end, we meet our maker. So simple. The new generation must go. I mean, the old must go for the younger ones to take over. These jarring changes alternate between life and death. That's all. The good and the ill, the constructive and the destructive, the sad and the joyous, the peaceful and the warring, the gaining and the losing. Now, Solomon's point is that the whole range of life is beyond human control. True by nature, we have to share in these activities. Ecclesiastes 7 verse 9. What profit has the worker from God, that in which he liveth? What benefits at all? You make money to buy car, to cruise in town, to travel to eat, to travel for occasions, to travel for vacations. What at all do you gain? And yet, man is not satisfied. What profit do you gain from all your labor? No matter how hardworking, how efficient worker or working you are, you cannot invent anything new. Life is the same thing. We are all imitating. As I've been saying, you are born, you crawl, you begin to walk, you run, you go to school, you fall in love, you marry, you give birth, you grow, you die. Period. You will build, do some properties. You leave them behind and then you go. That's all. That's why the book is asking that. What at all do we gain from our labor? He is not urging us to do things at the right time, but illustrating man's helplessness before God's providence. Unless God provides. Only God can lengthen your years. But the lifespan, as a case, is 70 years or 80 years. Only God, it is not about how healthy you eat. That you eat good balance diet food. No. Far from there. Okay, then otherwise the poor will die than the rich. Because basically the rich eat good food, they drink better wine than the poor. When you see a poor man's food, sometimes you vomit or you even lose appetite. In fact, it is an eyesore. Go to the dining table of the rich and you see that you will start to salivate. So tempting. Delicious, expensive, and sumptuous food. Wine, meat, everything. Vegetables, sometimes they have some fruits. Sometimes they die of an unknown illness or disease. Upon all the medical research that technology has brought, technology has revealed this. Not all illness are detected even when the person dies. I mean, the rich people. At times, it is so surprising that they have been relying on their monies, but their monies have not been able to save them. Salvation is not found in money. Long life, long lifespan, or prolonged life is not found in eating good food. I am not saying don't eat balanced diet food or don't eat well. But the true protector is God Almighty. Only He can consider you to lengthen your life based on your relationship with Him. Of course, some Christians also die at a very young age. But me, I know that if you want to prolong your lifespan, then follow God, because He gives the life. He has cautioned that by 80 years you must die. He can choose to consider you based on the way you walked with Him. I mean, this is common sense. We move on. Our actions depend upon times and seasons over which we have no control. Yes, you can't do nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing you can do. If you die, you die. That's all. If you have to go, you go. If you have to cry, you cry. Some may fake. They don't want to cry. They weep. Weeping is inward and crying is outward. The weeping is a silence, and then the crying is shouting, where you hear words, people, precisely when there's a funeral. And the weeping is more dangerous because it is within, okay, and can even cause you hypertension. So crying is better than weeping, of course, as I read in psychology anyway. So we can do nothing except God provides. So providence or providence from God. Man is helpless. We can do nothing. You can't tell God to increase your lifespan. If you want Him to increase your lifespan, then worship Him well. But worshiping God even is not equal to prolonged lifespan. Is it such a thing that you must know? Now people think that when you follow God, then things should be smooth. Do you know how I suffered before I bought my TV? Do you know how much I suffered before I was able to buy a TV? Do you know how much I suffer in my life? To do data, to come live as I'm doing, it's not easy. Now when I'm done recording, I wish you are here to check the data that I've spent for the preaching. Of course, I'm not saying this as if I'm doing something better for Christ. I'm just trying to make an inference. May God forgive me on that. So you see that, the point I'm trying to make is that the fact that you are worshiping God is not equal to prosperity. You can fall ill and die. In fact, what at all did the apostles do that they died so shamefully? I mean, can you imagine that? Sometimes I sit there and I imagine that. Even the wicked person, sometimes the person dies naturally and peacefully the person is buried. Go and read about apostles. How shamefully, how painfully, how wickedly they died. They were not following Satan. They were following Jesus Christ. So Christ was there and then He was just watching. And you know what? The apostles, they all had one aim. Give me strength to endure the pains. Simple. 2. So second aim is that they were going to heaven. Now number 3, they were counted worthy to suffer for Christ. Period. So don't think that by following God always you are going to live long. No. It is not true. But I am saying that if you want to live long, if you want to prolong your life, a life full of peace, try to walk with God. By God's grace, I have enjoyed my life with the least that I have. So man is nothing without regard for God. Now the picture is not saying that God has foreordained the exact time and circumstance of every human life, though he certainly could know them. He simply describes the jarring oscillation of events which God has made a part of the human experience. The word oscillation means to swing to and fro, that's all. So backwards and forward. So you can say this is backward and then forward, to and fro. So you are swinging. So you go, or in this manner. So you go up and down. So swinging. That's the meaning of jarring oscillation. So the oscillation will explain. The jarring to and fro of events. So I can even use it to replace the oscillation. So I can say he simply describes the jarring to and fro. You understand? Or to swing backward and forward events which God has made a part of the human experience. You see, I spent time to learn English. I was so poor with grammar. Very, very, very poor with grammar. I remember when I was in second cycle. In fact, when I completed my JHS, my father had no money, so he sent me into apprenticeship for 4 years. So after 4 years, then I began school. All my English had vanished. So for the whole year, I never speak, or I didn't speak any English. I spoke no English. I was learning from the younger ones who had completed a JHS. Then my mother, being my madam, I complained to her. They said, oh, then start reading books. So she began to give me British books. And for British poetry and then other books, no picture is in the book. Only that the pictures are found at the cover page. Then she gave me Oxford Dictionary. That after I'm done reading one chapter, I should write keywords and then use the dictionary to define. They may help me to write good essays in future. And I said, yes, madam. So I read them. I read for 2 good years. That was Form 2 to Form 3. And that was the end of my weakness in English. So from there, it was just a technical school, so no English, Maths, and Social Studies. So I had to go to Western Media, and within 10 months, I passed English, Maths, and Social Studies. So as you see me, as a matter of fact, I don't like grammar. Because for the WASI, they will teach you comprehension and summary. So you should be good with antonyms and synonyms, nearest in meaning. There are some phrases that you have to find ways to suit. So me, for those things, in fact, I have never written and failed any English exam before in my life. And as we speak, I've never failed any exam in my life before. And it will never happen to me. I read a lot. Alright, we move on. They tell us 2 things. A, we do not have absolute control of our circumstances. Yes, you don't have absolute control. So we say that if the Lord wills, God's willing, tomorrow I'll travel. God's willing, tomorrow night I'll meet you. Don't say I will see you tomorrow. No. All these things are pride. Tomorrow I'll meet. No. God's willing, I'll meet you tomorrow. God's willing, I will see you tonight. We do not have absolute control of our circumstances. Time changes circumstances. And circumstances change the course of a man's life. 2 or B, we cannot discern God's aim or comprehend his providence from the circumstances of our life. Yes. You can't predict. It is non-predictable. This isn't statistics, where you can predict or assume the possible outcome. No. From morning, when I'm going to my workplace, I will pray in my room. Initially, when I wake up, I will pray. When I'm done and then I am going out, I will kneel down and pray. When I'm in the car, the moment I take the car, I will pray. As the car is moving, I will still be praying. In fact, I will pray and pray and pray and pray until I alight at my junction and then I go to work. The same thing when I'm coming. Of course, I pray in my head. Anyway, when you are in the bus, you can't be shouting. So it's in my head. Life is unpredictable. Time can change anything at any time. Oh, don't worry, I'll go and come right now. Time, then you are dead. Because of pride and arrogance, you think that the life that you have is for you. It is borrowed. So as I'm speaking, I can die. It belongs to God. So we say God's willing. If God wills, because he can change my life at any time. So this also comes to a situation whereby someone might think that he determines your future. No. You didn't create me. Now, God allowed Satan to play with Job. There was tolerance. God tolerated Satan to tempt to test Job. Does not mean that Job belonged to Satan. No. And when God stepped in, where was Satan? Job was rather multiplied. So you can't determine my destiny for me. No. Unless I'm living a reckless life. But if I'm worshiping God, doing the right thing, and you have chosen to become an obstacle to my future, my progress in life, then it's a curse on you. Natural curse. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord of hosts. So me, I don't retaliate. When you insult me, I won't mind you. When you offend me, I won't mind you. Now, the moment I retaliate means that now I've taken God's work upon my shoulders to execute. That becomes artificial thing. But when we leave our oppressors, people who don't respect us, to God, it becomes a natural curse. So you can imagine where God is going to deal with you officially. Who will redeem you? Now, if Satan is running after you, it's when you can go to God for intervention or redemption. But here, God himself is after you. So who can save you? So me, if you offend me, I pray to God. That's all. Then I go my way. Still, there is in us a longing to see in the event of our life some evidence of direction and ultimate purpose. I think Jeremiah 10:23. Jeremiah that man cannot direct his own footsteps. Let's see. Jeremiah 10:23. I think I'm sure. Let's see. In case I'm wrong, no problem. But I have something. I think Jeremiah said something like that. Jeremiah 10:23. God is good. Oh Lord, I know the way of a man is not in himself. It is not in man who walks to direct his own steps. So you have no right that I am on my own. No. It is not true. It is a desire which God has put in us, yet without the ability to discern an answer in life conflicting event. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Now let's see something there. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Please, I want to drink some water. Sorry. He has made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he has put eternity in their hearts, except that no one can find out the work that God does from beginning to end. How can you penetrate into the wisdom of God? You, who are you? The creature isn't above the creator. So, it is possible to worship God in these diverse seasons. Is it possible to find joy in the midst of our adversity? To find independence on Him in the midst of failing health? So you can imagine. Is it possible to be close to God in ever-changing circumstances? The answer of Ecclesiastes and the whole of Scripture is an unvarying yes. Yeah, it is true. It is true. There's hope in God. Where all the medical sciences, all technology have failed, God can intervene. Now, some people who go to the hospital, both couples were told they can't give birth. Sometimes the wife has no womb. They can't find the womb of the wife. The wife has a womb, but they don't know why she has not been able to conceive. Why are you saying you don't know why? As you claim that you are also knowledgeable, why are you saying you don't know why she has not been able to conceive? Because you claim to be a medical doctor. You claim so with this artificial intelligence that you are so knowledgeable, so you can predict the future of a human being. I mean, who are you and how dare you predict the future of a fellow human being? You human being to predict. How possible that you die at this age because of this illness? Some are true, most are false. And the woman who was told, the couples who were told they couldn't give birth, have given birth to healthy children. So we can find comfort, we can find solution to our problems when we have hope in God. So the answer is yes. Some people even passed out at the hospitals and were pronounced dead. Later, they resurrected by divine means. And this was above the doctor's worldly wisdom. He said that the person was dead. So that was the limitation of his artificial intelligence and then wisdom. But God had to prove that He is God. And the body is His craft. God is working His internal purpose in this apparently contradictory world. Yes, it is true. He works in mysterious ways that you can't even understand. Now, during the COVID era, always I will say this: people were dictating vaccine. So churches, I think somewhere March, there was a lockdown in Ghana. So we were worshiping in house to house. So household worship. I never took the vaccine. Why? Because every Sunday I took Lord's Supper. I believe that the communion wine is better or was better than the artificial vaccine, the COVID vaccine. So I never took it. That was my faith. And now I'm here. Some took it. They are dead and gone. But me, I'm here. God is working His internal purpose in his apparently contradictory word. I am not saying that don't go for the vaccine. In fact, in class, I told my students that they can go for the vaccine. But me, I won't go for it. I mean, after the lockdown. course, I was observing the protocols, the wearing of the mask, the washing of the hands, and then applying of a hand sanitizer, a whole lot. Have you seen a virus before? Have you ever seen a virus before? A virus is to be seen in a high magnified microscope. So do you think that you can use your naked eyes to see a virus? Anyway, if you move on. He has made everything beautiful, we mean appropriate in its time. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11, as we read. But he has arranged this so that we cannot always see how it is being done. How can you know what God is always doing? You are a human being, so you are limited in some ways. So we don't question God. Not all questions in the Bible have answers. Sometimes if you ask me, I will say that God said so, so shall remain. For teachers of Christ, we speak where the Bible speaks. We are silent where the Bible is also silent. So don't think that I can penetrate into God's wisdom. No. Where he offered answer, that one I will offer. But where he offered no answer, I keep quiet and then I move on. And why has God shrouded his providence in this way? But that one you cannot say. Because he does what he wants. So that men should fear before him. So if you want an answer, this is an answer. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 14. Men must fear God. In case you're unaware. So 3 verse 14. I know that whatever God does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be added to it. And nothing taken from it. God does it, that men should fear before him. Who are you to alter? That's why they say that when God blesses you, it is everlasting. This reminds me of my friend, you are welcome. Yes, he's my good friend. We communicate a lot. He has been saying that Joseph, he calls me, yes, so Joseph. When God blesses you, it is final. No one can do nothing to it. And it is true. I know that whatever God does, it shall be forever. It is everlasting. Nothing can be added to it. Nothing. No subtraction, no addition. And nothing taken from it. No subtraction, no addition. Who are you to add or subtract? God does it. That men should fear before him, period. Of course, the fear is not about to shiver when you see God, to honor him, to obey him, to follow his statutes and principles. It's the fear. I fear God, so I don't womanize. I don't drink alcohol. In fact, I don't go out. I am not saying that all the outings are wrong. I won't even go there to experiment. Anything. Who knows? I may even fall into a temptation. So I have my own lifestyle. Okay. Because I will not go and sit at a place where people will be passing by with indecent dressings, and I won't even go at all. So you must fear God. Respect and honor him. The honor is even more important than the respect is when you do it when the person is watching you. But the moment the person leaves, or when the person left, then you became your own boss. That's the respect. But for the honor, being the person present or absent, you still do what you have been commanded to do. That's the honor. What I'm saying, as I said, I stay, above the hill. And all my surroundings is bushy or are bushy. Okay. There's no one living behind me. So the place is very dark, especially when it is evening. And here it's so silent. So you see that I can bring in women, girls to and fro. By God's grace, naturally, I am not a womanizer. That's one thing that has helped me all this far. And I thank God so much for this natural intervention. You see, the weakness of men is women. A woman is not my weakness. So it is even so hard for me to come home with a girl. No. I will never do that. I feel shy that someone has seen that there's a girl or a lady entering. No. I feel shy because the person might not know what is going inside the room. Of course, there are some people who are also staying on the hill. So when I go out, they see me. Sometimes either they are sitting outside, even in their room, they will see me. I feel shy. I just feel shy. Unless you are my mentee, I mean, my friend, even that one. No. I feel shy because in future, I don't want people to speculate to my wife that, oh, your husband was coming in with a different way. No, I wouldn't want that. I'm trying to follow Matthew 5, verse 13 and 14. Be a salt, be a light. Right, we move on. We must learn at least to trust God in the things which we do not comprehend. Trust Him when you are confused. That is the lesson of the book of Job. Faith is indeed the victory which overcomes the world. 1 John 5 verse 4. 1 John 5 verse 4. People always mention that Abraham had faith in God. But me, I will vote Job. Yes. Because Job suffered than Abraham. So me always, I'll go for Job. When we are making reference to faith. How can you lose all what you have? Your wife to even come and then ask you to curse God and die. There were so many words and swords around him. People were mocking him. You think it's easy? We call this the test of time. To stand this test of time is not easy. And every Christian stands the test of time. It is not easy at all. If you're not lucky, they will never employ you. If you're unlucky, they will never ever employ you. You will be there to work and sacrifice, and no one will employ you. You will be there, and then they will always bring in new appointees, and then you are there. And later they will say that you are lazy. Meanwhile, you are there doing volunteer work and a whole lot. It is so frustrating. But sometimes the moment you leave, then your chance will come. So patience as a Christian. For whatever is born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world. Our faith. So faith is very vital in Christianity. What we know of the wisdom, power, and goodness of God must suffice to give us confidence in the faithfulness of His promises. Yes. Faith must manifest, actually. And because of that, because we have hope in God, we must be able to live with Him faithfully. Have confidence in Him. We must trust God. We confide in Him. That confidence will get us through many painful and baffling circumstances, as Job. Painful and baffling. So painful. So painful that you have the required skills, the requisite skills as a Christian or as a young engineer. You have done nothing wrong. You have done nothing wrong. But when you married, your wife couldn't give birth. Meanwhile, when you were young, you were not a womanizer. You caused no abortion. You lived an austere life. Sometimes you even married as a virgin. Now, cast back your mind to Isaac and Rebecca. Isaac married Rebecca as a virgin. It took them 20 years before Jacob and Esau were born. Even that one, Isaac had to pray. So, me always have been asking that, so didn't God know that they needed a child? So Christianity too is something. I'm surprised that I know all your needs before you ask. Can you, I think Matthew 6 verse 8. Before you ask, then the Father knows. If He knows, why should we ask? Now let's go to Matthew 6 verse 8, and you see something there. Oh, it's Christianity is an understanding. You must understand Christianity. Therefore, do not be like them, for your Father knows the things you have need of before you ask Him. Here is a prayer. Don't repeat, because He knows already. If He knows already, why should we ask? If God knew that Isaac needed children, why did He wait for Isaac to ask before? That's the essence of following God. To stand the test of time, and you don't question God. You have no right to question God. No right. You keep quiet. That confidence will get us through many, a painful, so painful. You are ill and have no money. If you aren't careful, you will die. If you aren't careful, you will die. Sometimes you even have to beg. So you can imagine. In fact, life is unfair. You can imagine a faithful Christian who is so poor because they're destitute to the point that the person has to beg before the person will eat. And when you are ill at the hospital, people have to roam to beg for money before they can take care of this person. And the moment the person becomes healthy, he or she continues doing God's work. Some will marry and will have series of miscarriages. That's what I'm saying. Some are married, they are so committed, and there's not even a sign of a single miscarriage. My friend, you are hereby informed that Christianity is a serious business meant for people who are serious in life. Don't worship God as a tit for tat, that give and take. No. He decides, and you keep quiet. Either you are in or you are out. You are in means to follow Him, or you are out to follow Satan. By confidence, we will stay in for the painful and baffling circumstances. There is no guarantee that our heart will not be broken. In this world, beneath the sun, no guarantee. No, I love King Solomon. No guarantee that I want to attend Church of Christ so that my life will be better. At times it becomes worse. So at times when you preach that people should stop their church or churches to come to ours, they make fun of us because where they are, there's a connection. I mean, maybe the pastor has a company, so he has recruited most members. They come to our church and see. Some people even have companies. They will never employ you. I'm making reference to a Christian who has a company where he can even lobby for him to be employed as a cleaner. The person will never do it. I don't know. I don't understand it. So do you want to tell me that I should go and then preach to someone in the world to leave his church, his work, to come to my church and suffer? No, the person, they will not come. But the call is about your salvation and not the prosperity to survive on this earth. I follow Christ for nothing but my salvation. That's all. Not for prosperity. No. For progress of life. No. So that when I die, maybe He will consider me. That's all. There is no guarantee that our hearts will not be broken in this world beneath the sun. No guarantee. A Christian sister who is a virgin might have been deceived and slept with, broke her virginity with one foolish and stupid Christian boy in the church. She never knew. Maybe she was drugged And before she was aware, she had been raped. Someone who was trying to preserve her virginity for a future husband. She had been deceived. No guarantee that your heart won't be broken. The person has promised to marry you. Before you were aware, he was marrying. She was marrying. There's no guarantee that you'll be happy all the time. Your phone can spoil at any time. And this can even lead to a heart attack. You there, then your TV will spoil, your face. You have no money too. This will also lead to broken hearts. There is no guarantee that our hearts will not be broken in the world beneath the sun. But there is absolute assurance that the God in whom we trust will never leave us nor forsake us. Hebrews 13 verse 5. That in this your broken-hearted era or period, God will intervene. Let's read Hebrews 13 verse 5. Once again, I myself have understood Christianity. So, me I care less. I care less. Of course, I didn't come to Christianity because of prosperity. We are insulted many a time. Many a time I am estimated. I don't care. Now, when you insult me for the cause of Christ, oh, I consider it as encouragement, as a motivation, as a means of compliment. Yes, because I'm doing or living for Christ. That's all. Let your conduct be without covetousness. Be content with such things as you have. For he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And God is a God who keeps his promise. I have never ever begged to eat in my life. At least I can borrow and pay later. Yes, I have never ever begged to eat. And there's no way I will sleep in hunger. No. However, it may appear otherwise. At times too you are in trouble and as if God has not seen. He will dodge. Or he will dodge. You see, when your child starts to walk, sometimes we help him to stand up, then we walk to a distance, expecting that the child will walk towards your direction. And that's how this child will learn how to walk. If you are always accompanying him, escorting him ahead, he or she becomes lazy and become, interdependent on the parent. So God at times steps aside, small, to watch the skills that we're going to exhibit. That's why we're saying that. However, it may appear otherwise. So it is not but God was there to see that Job was suffering. Christ was there when the apostles were killed. Christianity, the assurance is not absolute. God does as the way he wants. Period. We live in a broken world, but we need to be of good cheer because our great Redeemer has overcome the world. Christ the world is for Christ. If he wants you to die, then you are dying in a good, you are dying for good. I remember on 20th of April, where the world was celebrating Easter Sunday or Holy Sunday, I went to church at UMAT. So when you close, I told my brothers that I wish Christ comes now, because when he comes now, I will go to him. Because I enjoyed the worship so much. And I also told them that each time I come to worship here, I wish Christ will come. Christ has redeemed the world. So if now not all the prophets received their promise before they died, in case you're unaware. So don't think that when you are working with God, things will be absolute. Moses didn't reach Canaan, but this was promised to him initially over one small mistake. God never forgave him. So not all of them saw what was to happen to them before they died. Some died before some of their prophecies were fulfilled. These are things that you must know. In all cases, Christ is our Redeemer. He has already redeemed us from the power of darkness. The victory we seek and the purpose we long to secure is awaiting us above the sun, heaven. So from above. So God is always watching us, our behavior towards Him. Meanwhile, though there may be many things in our lives that mystify us, we can rejoice in and be grateful for the good days God gives us, and try to learn the lessons which the days of adversity alone can bring. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 12 to 13, 7 verse 14, Psalms 119, verse 55 to 72. And try to learn the lessons which the days of adversity alone can bring. So the day can be bad, can go bad, or good. Can go wrong or correct. The life we live is not always sweet. Bitter goes with sweeter, of course, as the opposite. Let us rest assured that in both our tears and our joys, God is working for our internal good. Let's go to Romans 8, verse 28. Then we end. Of course, it's a beautiful quotation. Romans. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to His purpose. Are you called according to God's purpose, or you want to live the life that you want to? What time is it? What time is it? And do you have control over your own life, or unless we seek from God? Trusting the God who sets the times and seasons of our life. And then we also look at what time is it? There's time for everything. So wait patiently and your turn will come. Once again, my name is Bese Fata. Money for the Truth is on Facebook and YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube and follow my page on Facebook. I love you so much because you have been viewing the way the Facebook videos are trending. I'm surprised. Sometimes I do a video and within one day, 24 hours, I've gotten 620 viewers. I said, wow. God bless you so much. May He gives you more money for more data. May He lessen your problems, because if you are overburdened, there's no way you have time for God. To make time to watch the video. Of course, it will help you. My number is 0248 026557 if you want to donate. Until then, I will see you next time with the Pedagogy of Chapter 3, Episode 2 on 1. God's righteous rule versus the real world. And then the last one will be men like beasts. So we will compare. Of course, life is used to compare. And the figure of speech for life is simile. Until then, bye-bye.